Breaking news tonight, measures allowing the government to bar migrants who cross the border illegally from seeking asylum go into effect at midnight. This follows from executive action that President Biden took earlier today, months after the former president derailed bipartisan border security legislation and with the issue looming large in the presidential race.
I'm moving past Republican obstruction and using the executive authorities available to me as president to do what I can on my own to address the border. Frankly, I would have preferred to address this issue through bipartisan legislation because that's the only way to actually get the kind of system we have now that's broken, fixed.
We're now from CNN's Priscilla Alvarez at the White House for us. So can you talk about what the new executive order entails?
Well, Anderson, this is a sweeping measure that will essentially have huge ramifications at the U.S.-Mexico border for migrants who are seeking asylum. What it does is it shuts off asylum access for migrants who cross the border illegally when there's a daily threshold met of 2,500. That means that border authorities can turn people back to Mexico or remove them to their country of origin. Now, there are some exemptions for unaccompanied migrant children and select others, but senior administration officials say this is going to take effect immediately, and it's already having fierce backlash from progressives and members of President Biden's own party who say this is a page from Donald Trump's playbook. And indeed, former President Donald Trump did try to do this exact thing in 2018 using the same authority, but was eventually blocked by the courts. Now, of course, the timing here is notable. We're only a few weeks away from the first presidential debate, and voters rank immigration as one of their top issues. And this is a president who has been slammed repeatedly by Republicans and Democrats over his handling of the U.S.-Mexico border. So taken together, today really amounts to a significant policy shift for this White House, which began its administration saying it wanted to restore asylum and is now working to shut that valve off for some migrants. So all of this, Anderson, just clearly an indication of the president trying to blunt Republican attacks and preempt his Republican rival on the campaign trail.
And it seems likely there'll be court challenges.
That's exactly right. The ACLU already saying they plan to take this to court, to challenge it in court. They did that during the Trump administration, and they had some success. As I mentioned, the courts eventually blocked former President Donald Trump from using this very same authority. And senior administration officials acknowledged that'd be the case in a call with reporters today, saying that they expected litigation from the right or the left on this very issue, which goes to show that really, at the end of the day, the executive is quite hamstrung when it comes to any changes on the U.S.-Mexico border. They do need Congress. That is true. It's only Congress that can really overhaul the U.S. immigration system. But at the end of the day, this is a massive change for this White House, which began on a different note back in 2021.
Priscilla Alvarez, thanks very much. CNN's David Culver is at a border crossing in San Diego with a story of one man who's made patrolling the border a personal mission. David?
Hey, Anderson, I'm going to introduce you to that man in just a minute, but I want to show you what's happening live behind me. David, why don't you step over here? Photojournalist David Von Blah. I'm going to peek through the barrier, and you can see there's a group of about a dozen migrants. They've been here a few hours now, and they're lined up, and this is the process that plays out dozens of times each day here along the San Diego sector of the U.S. southern border. And it's really down to a perfect science at this point with these border agents. They know what to put in the bags, and to have the folks put everything that can't be carried on them into those bags, one bag, and then they get on board that van and they head to then detention centers where they're going to be processed, most of them under claims of asylum. Now, the question's going to be in the days to come when they hit that threshold that Priscilla was talking about, what really happens to them. In theory, they would be put on a van, put into the detention center, and then driven right back over into Mexico. Now, you mentioned that veteran who we spent time with late last night into the early hours this morning, and as that executive action was coming into play, he wanted to show us the crisis firsthand.
Keeping up with Corey Godero is a challenge, especially on dirt roads as the sun sets on the California-Mexico border. He's gotten word migrants have just crossed.
We're watching this. You can actually see if you've been. They just brought up a Border Patrol van, and they'll load them up on that van and continue on to processing centers. I mean, you see this pretty regularly, I assume, too, because this is your community.
New people that come out and see this firsthand, it's a shock to them. It's very confusing. It's still confusing to me, but it's not necessarily a shock. This is just everyday life here now.
Here is San Diego County. And Corey is not Border Patrol, but an Army veteran who admits he's become obsessed with understanding this migration surge.
And it's very frustrating to watch this stuff happen in my backyard. When we have veterans in our country who don't have homes, who don't have health care. I feel like we should prioritize some things. Cell phone.
The cell phone connection.
Corey's begun collecting what migrants leave behind, most surprisingly, passports and IDs.
It's Mexican immigration. Altogether, you said hundreds of IDs?
Yeah.
Where do you keep them?
Secret location.
Can we see it?
Yeah.
On the way there,
Denver.
Corey stops and points out vulnerabilities in the border wall, places he says smugglers direct migrants to cross, and he shows us remnants of recent campsites.
So this is, as you see it, a collection that represents the migration crisis impacting the U.S. right now.
Yep, in the San Diego sector specifically.
So you've got a group from China, you've got other parts of South America, some Central America, South America here, credit cards as well. What do you make of all this?
I don't know what you make of it. It's just kind of insanity that people would leave these personal documents behind.
And why collect them?
Each one of these people has a story, whether that story is coming here for asylum or coming here to have a better life or coming here for nefarious reasons. They've all got a story.
In recent weeks, Corey, along with friends who don't want to be on camera, have documented what they've seen. This thermal camera video appearing to capture a smuggler dropping off a large group, then taking off. Here, the desert nightfall